10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or more. The bloody Red Baron was rolling up the score. Hey everyone, it's General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. So yes, we are playing a new game, and this one is going to be Operation Red Baron, and we're naming it that in honor of the ace of aces, Baron von Richthofen. Sorry, I'm not good with foreign names. When I say foreign, I mean people other than Canadian. Smith is good. I can say Smith. We'll just call him Smith for the rest of the video. How's that sound? No. Anyway, so yeah, he was the ace of aces. He had over 80 confirmed kills, which is a lot more than most do. I mean, that's even more than Tom Cruise. I shit you not. But yeah, he was an actual baron. He wasn't just a nickname that he had. That was a title that he had from his. It was hereditary, right? Like his father had the title, and so he had the title as well. And so they called him the Red Baron because he flew in a red plane, and he flew in a unit, his own unit, which was called the Flying Circus. And the reason they called him that was they moved around a lot, like along the Western Front. Most units, they stayed in one place, right? Like you go forward, the enemy's over there. But these guys, they moved up and down the front. And so they, like they had to take tents with them, right? So that they had a place to stay and everything. And so they were called Richthofen's Flying Circus, or Richthofen's Circus, sorry, or the Flying Circus for short. And they all had colorful planes, and so like it just seemed to fit, right? Anyway, but we're starting the game in the prequel in 1912, and so it's a little early for this guy. At this point in time, he was just a cavalryman. So let's put one of the early war German fighters on for now. Not that it matters, but just because I like those sculpts as well. Anyway, so let's get into it here. Let's move out, zoom out. So in this game, we are going to be playing with version 2.0 rules. And you might have seen that on the website the last couple of weeks. The rules have been officially released, so you can download them and print them off and laminate them if that's what you do. Do whatever you want with them. I decided to put them in a book because, like I found that when you had a whole bunch of reference sheets, you're looking around, where's the Japanese one? Where you're scrambling around looking for stuff. I just put everybody's in one book, and then I made up a couple of books. So, because there's more than one player in a game, right? Sometimes. In this game, of course, I'm the only one in my room, but yeah, it just makes it easier. But you do what you want to do. Anyway, so we have the 1912 setup on the board, which is different from the 1914 setup. There's the mini map for the Balkans. Yeah, loving that. I really like it's not glare, like I got that matte finish on there. So it's all protected and everything. But it doesn't glare for the videos, right? Like it even glares over here on the board, but not on the mini map. Anyway, and over there is the Mexican Revolution. That's another mini map. So there's 4 conflicts that are going on in the prequel. There's the Mexican Revolution, there's the Italo-Turkish War, and those are ongoing as soon as we start the game in the spring of 1912. And then I think at the end, like the fall, winter of 1912, that's when the Balkan War 1 goes. And now that you've seen the Balkan mini-map, that's why I know there's no units in the Balkan there. They're all over here, right? And then there's Balkan War 2 that happens after that. Basically what happens there is that you reset some things, and then Bulgaria switches sides. That's about the only change, right? But there's prizes for winning each of these little conflicts, right? When I say prizes, I mean you get some territory maybe, or you get more than anything you get some technology associated with it. So your technology gets boosted up, and we will be rolling for technology and diplomacy during the prequel. But you can only go so far, right? You can't keep going. I think it's the limit is 1, And then there's random events that can bump that up a little further. So who are the teams? Well, we've got some new players. So one of them is from Phoenix, and his name is John. And I don't know what this guy's doing swimming in the middle of the ocean. I guess warlords can swim now. Anyway, so John is from Phoenix, and he's going to be playing Britain. And we wish him luck. He's played a few games before. He's got a really nice board. I've seen pictures of it. You might have seen pictures of it on Facebook. So anyway, he's playing Britain. I guess I skipped over Germany. That's going to be Randall. He's going to be my partner. I'm going to be Central Powers this time. So Randall is going to be the Germans. And it's kind of cool that we've got some newer players playing the toughest roles, Germany and Britain. People are learning how to play this game, and why not just throw them in? And this is a good place to do it because on both sides we've got designers of the game, and so they can help out with questions and, you know, if they need advice or whatever, so they can just ask, right? And in that way they can learn, and so can you learn as you're watching these videos. And so that brings us to number 3 in the turn order, and that would be France. So my good friend and designer, Robert Hatcher, he is going to be the French, and he's going to be the Americans and the nationalist Chinese. Sorry, I was just looking at something there. Yeah, so he's basically taking on the role that I had last game. I played those nations last game, and it works pretty well when you do that because Britain is a lot to handle, right? And so you don't want to be throwing a bunch of other things on the British player there. So Bob's going to play those 3 countries. And who's next? Austria. Actually, I skipped over Austria. Just going one way or the other. Anyway, I'm going to be playing Austria and the Ottoman Empire. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, especially the prequel. In the prequel, the Ottomans are the only ones that have their wartime income. Everybody else is at peacetime income. Like you look over here on the income chart, and everybody's way down here. So you use your peacetime incomes during the prequel because you're not at war, right? Except the Ottomans. The Ottomans are at war. They're at war with Turkey. They are Turkey. They're at war with Italy to begin with, and then they're involved in the Balkan Wars. And so I think at the very last turn of the prequel, they're not at war. And so, funny thing, when they start the war in 1914, they're at peacetime income, probably. I mean, random event can change that, right? And it's the everybody else that are going to be at wartime income, except the Americans, of course. And there's the diplomacy chart. That's all been reset, and it's ready to go. So looking forward to that. So who's next? Let's see. Okay, the Russians. So Tim is going to be playing the Russians. Tim is a very experienced player. He and Bob were the team in Pennsylvania that did a lot of play testing and developing the rules. So Tim was a big help to us in that, and he is a good player. And he's going to be playing the Russians this time. So we'll see if the same thing happens to him that happened to Randall. Randall was playing an awesome game, and then they decided to have a little revolution. I told him to watch out for that Rasputin guy, but he didn't listen to me, and so anyway. But yeah, he played really well, and he almost won that game. We're talking about Operation Hindenburg there. He did really well, and I expect him to do pretty well too. But you never know, right? Like it's all up to the dice and things like that. We'll see what happens, right? And so after that, like we don't know who Italy and Japan are going to be, obviously, because we don't know whose side they're on. But we do know that John's friend Johan is going to be coming over to his house. He lives not far from him, and he's going to be playing the Italians. He kind of wants to learn, and that's a good way to learn. You know, playing one of those minor countries, right? One of those playable minor nations, because it gets you involved in the game, and you're there, and you're listening and participating in the conversation behind the scenes, and you're just doing a minor role, but in the game, but you're learning a lot, right? So anyway, we welcome him as well. And is that everybody? I think it is, isn't it? Just looking on the board here. Yeah, I think I got everybody. So there's 5 of us in this game. Last game there was 6 of us. But Dan and Dawson, they have got something else that they're working on together, a project of their own. Anyway, so I wish them luck, and hopefully we'll have them back for another game. But in this game, it's just us, and we're calling it Operation Red Baron. And let me just dial this up here. So the random events I have are on the computer because, unlike the last game, Operation Hindenburg, in Operation Red Baron, we will be playing version 2.0 of the random events, and I've just submitted them to Doug this week. So Bob and I have been working on those. We've got them rewritten. Most of the stuff is clarifications, but not all of it. Like, we've actually added probably 20 or 30 new random events, and there's hundreds of them, right? Like, there's 6 for the West and 6 for the East on every turn of the game, like the prequel and the regular game. The only thing that they're not in is the Russian Revolution, but in them we have the Russian Civil War card deck. Those are the random events for that. But yeah, these random events, we're actually really proud of the way they turned out this time. A lot of was the help that we got from the community, because that's where a lot of our questions came from. Like, what does this mean? And so I'd read it and go, yeah, I guess you could kind of. And some of them I didn't know what they meant either. So me and Bob had to talk about it and make a decision and things like that. But I think we've cleaned all that up. Plus, we've made new ones. There's no duplicates in there, except for on the very last turn in the East and the West. There's one that ends the war. Doesn't matter that you're playing the variable ending. In the spring of 1920, the war would end at the end of that turn anyway, but we're just ending the war right then and there. And so that's the only one that's a duplicate, and everything else is similar. Like, you could have African Conflict 1 and African Conflict 2, where they're similar, but in many cases they're just an escalation of what has already happened. So you might roll both of them, or you might just roll one of them. And just have part of the consequences that used to be in the old random events. Now, those are not available yet, and I can't tell you when they are. I can tell you it's sometime between next week and 4 years from now. I'm kind of kidding. It's not going to be 4 years, but anyway, the point is, I just don't know. That's up to the boss, right? The boss is going to decide how and when he decides to release the 2.0 random events, but we will be playing with them, and Bob and I are the only ones that have them. That's why one of us had to do the random events. We're going to let our teammates and opponents know ahead of time, this is what's different. Like, all these ones are the same, except for there's 2 new ones in this next year coming up, and we'll let them know before they take their turn, just so that they're not surprised. And if I'd have known that, I would have put a guy there, That would be kind of ignorant. But anyway, right now I'm going to roll for the random events to kick off the game. And then Randall, I believe it's the middle of the night right now in Australia. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not exactly certain what time it is. But once he goes, then everybody else will be going. So the game could start today. It could start tomorrow. I'm not sure. That all depends on when Germany goes. Here we go. Spring 1912 West. It is a 5. Let's go take a look. Okay, number 5. Moroccan crisis. France must choose one of the following. We had this one last game. Accept German demands and pay 2 IPP per turn for the next 3 turns as compensation for German investments in Morocco, or deny German demands. Germany must spend 2 IPP this turn to place 2 attacking neutral infantry in Morocco, which becomes a German-controlled minor power that aligns when Germany goes to war if they succeed in combat. And so that's the first one. Okay, let's go do the second one, and that would be Spring 1912 East. Number 4. Typhoon tragedy. Nationalist China removes 1 infantry from Kwangtung. Not a good turn for Bob. Looks like I'm picking on you here. So Kwangtung, we go over here, and here we are. This guy right here. We'll just take a chip off. There we go. That's not going to affect the prequel at all because China does not play in the prequel. That doesn't start until World War I starts. And that's a timing thing. Like if you gave the Nationalists too long, they're always going to run the table in that. I expect this to be a better fight than it was last time. I just had incredible luck when I was playing the Nationalists last game. But we'll see what happens this time around. Could be Bob runs the table too. Could be he doesn't. Anyway, that's it. We're going to start Operation Red Baron. I hope you have time to join us with this one. We're really liking the rules. If you need to know what the new rules are, you can check them out online at hbg.com, or you can watch one of my recent videos where I rolled out that game and I talked about a few of the rule changes, the major ones anyway. In the prequel, the biggest rule change, I'll just let you know because that's going to be coming in. So Bulgaria. So because Bulgaria changes sides and they probably will align to Austria-Hungary during the war, the Allies would like to beat the crap out of them, right? So the Allies are in control of them. They'll probably just be attacking the Ottomans to try to get rid of those Bulgarian units. And then they switch sides, and then the Austro-Hungarians will be controlling them. And if there's any units left, then they will probably try to attack. Anyway, the difference that we've made is that if Bulgaria is still a country when the war starts, like if nobody has taken over Bulgaria, then all of these units that you see here will be replenished for the war. And that's the rule change. It just makes sense, right? Otherwise, Bulgaria, who was pretty strong at the beginning of World War I, in our last game had nothing. You know, they had a militia or something. You know, that just shouldn't be, right? So that's the change that we made. And that's it. So hopefully you can join us. Take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.